What's up, guys? It's Ian. I have kind of an interesting story to tell you guys right now. Got some Call of Duty Zombies gameplay, last gen, because I don't have a PS5. Oh man, I haven't uploaded in so long, dude. Jesus, I wonder if my voice is different. It probably is. Oh, jeez, where was I? Yeah. So this is gonna be a story about my first job, which isn't really my first job. I mean, it is my first job, but like I don't tell people this is my first job. Like I kind of just gloss over this because I only worked there for like a month. But it was technically, truthfully, theoretically, hypothetically, my first job, and I worked at this burrito place. And I don't want to say the name of the place either, just because of the nature of the story, just in case somebody finds out. Which I'll get to it in a minute, right? So I worked there during, I want to say it was like my between my sophomore and my junior year of high school. Yeah, that sounds right. I was around 15 at the time, I think. And I worked there during the summer only because I didn't trust myself to balance an education and a job at the same time. And I wanted to prioritize my studies and whatnot and what have you. And I don't even know if I used those right. So much for the studies, right? But I worked there and I took the bus to get there. And I was the youngest person who worked there. And I was not good at my job. I did not have this. I did not have neither the social or the professional skills to work there. It was a mess. All right, I did not. I was just making these burritos, and we made burgers too. But I don't think I made a burger the entire time I worked there. So yeah, it just makes it extra sad. So most of the time there weren't that many customers. To be completely honest with you, we just it was really chill. But we did have a lunch rush that we did low key have to like lock in for a little bit. But most of the time we were in the back, just like chopping vegetables, chopping meat, chopping it up. Just talking and chatting and listening to Nickelback. No, I'm just kidding. But the manager did like to listen to very very interesting music. He had a very interesting taste in music. But one day we actually had kind of a bunch of customers coming in. There was actually a little bit of a line, so we had to get off our asses and start making these burritos. And the manager there, we'll call him we're not going to give him a name, but he was like in his mid-20s, and he was just watching me make these burritos, and he was just giving me these like weird looks. He was making these like grunting like dad noises, like like he was just dissatisfied with how I was making this burrito. And just by the way, he was, like I said, he was like in his mid-20s, but he had a mustache. And while I was doing the interview with him to get the job at the like when I first joined up, I was just thinking to myself, like, this mustache cannot be real. Like, there's no way you're at this point in your life where you require a mustache to hold your shit together. Like this he looked like Jeffrey Dahmer, bro. I'm not gonna lie. Like, he had glasses too. It was not working for him. But I could tell he was under a lot of stress. And like my coworker told me too. Like, yeah, he's going through a divorce right now. I was like, oh shit, okay. Like, goddamn. How do you know that? But whatever. He pulls me aside after I'm done with the customers, and keep in mind they're still there, right? They're sitting down. They're they're eating their food. They're not in line anymore, but they're still within earshot. And he just starts like telling me like, hey, you're not making these burritos fast enough. And like, I'm like, bro, it's a burrito. Like, they're telling me what to put on the burrito, like in real time. Like, it's not like I can make these like faster. Like, I can't read their mind. And he's just like yelling at me, not yelling at me, but like he's speaking with his voice raised, and I could tell everyone could hear it because like I could just tell it was so loud. It was like reverberating through the walls. People were looking, and I was just kind of nodding along because I didn't want him to. I don't want to make a scene, right? But he just keeps telling me this stuff, and it would have been fine if what he was saying wasn't like contradicting himself, because he told me how to make the burritos before, and I guess he was just like trying to like one up me and tell me. And every time I corrected him too, like I was just like, I thought you said to do this first, and he just like looks at me with these like meth head eyes. I'm like, okay, whatever. I'm just, hey, whatever. So I would just, I eventually he like walks off, and my coworker Shermaine, she's just like, don't worry about him. He's going through. It's not like he's gonna have us come in on a fucking Saturday to learn about proper burrito anatomy or anything. And I was like, yeah, you're probably right. But lo and behold, we get an email, and yeah, come in on Saturday for fucking burger. What am I fucking saying? Burrito tutorial to learn the fucking anatomy of engineering a fucking burrito. I don't know. And we it didn't say that in the email, but like we went in there and we were in the back room and there was like a poster board with like all that shit written on. Like this dude brought like a laser pointer. He was like he was being dead ass. He drew these like drawings and he had these like PowerPoint slides and he was like, guys, we need to increase the efficiency of how we make these burritos and we have to increase the profits. And someone's like, you mean for the customers? For the profits. Like and yes and of course the customer. Yeah, that's priority one, but priority 0.01 or something, I don't know, is making these as fast as possible, as efficiently as possible. And he was like, I'm not even kidding. I'll put up some images like of what he was drawing. Like, he put up these like kind of crude drawings of like if you put the layer of rice first, right, on the tortilla, and then you put the meat, and since the meat is cut into squares, it'll like jam itself into the grains of rice, and its weight will hold it down. It's like rocks on sand, and it'll create a good foundation, and then we could put the beans in, and the beans will fill in the slots in between the sharp edges of the meat. And then that's when the lettuce comes in, and like he was being like fucking serious, and it was hard not to laugh. We were just like trying not to. Like, it was crazy, bro. He was being 100% serious, and yeah, we were asking questions. We were like, this doesn't. We cook the rice in bulk, and the way that the fucking counter works, there's only these big slots for the rice in the middle. So are we gonna start in the middle? And so he's like, we'll circle back to that. Someone's like, have you ever made a burrito? He's like, irrelevant. Like, there was like some veterans who'd been there longer than he had. Like, just asking like, why this is not gonna work? Like, what are we gonna play fucking like Red Rover with these customers? Like, go to the middle, then go to the side, and then we're gonna bump into each other in the kitchen. They're gonna bump into the people in line. Like, why don't we just go left to right, like the way we've been doing it, right? And he's just not listening, right? So I was like, okay, whatever. There's not much I can do. And the following Monday, I come in and I'm like, so how are we gonna do this? Are we gonna cook the rice in separate trays? He's like, no, we're gonna do the rice in the middle. We're just gonna have to deal with it. I'm like, but we're gonna bump into each other. Like what? But I mean, whatever. I was 15. I did not have the skills. I was like, okay. And like eventually I got tired of explaining it to the customers because they were weirded out too. They were like, why the fuck is this kid going in the middle? Like. And I was just trying to hold it together. I didn't even say anything. I was like, I'm sorry. I don't know. They told us to do it this way. And I left it at that. And eventually people just started to like draw their own conclusions. Like people just came in. They're like, oh, he's probably new and he doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. What an idiot. Like, I don't know, bro. But anyway, like, I mean, once things weren't working, he just kind of went back into his office and just started yelling into the phone again. Shermaine was like, yeah, he's getting, like, audited by the IRS, too. I was like, what? Like, dude, what? Shermaine, like, always knew, like, shit that we didn't. Like, she was always, like, spreading these rumors, and, like, it was the funniest shit ever, I swear to God. But I started to get very vindictive over this because everyone was pissed off, but nobody else could do anything because they had, like, mortgages and, like, houses and kids to feed. So they couldn't really quit or risk getting fired. But I was just like, you know what, I'm gonna start doing some sabotage in here because this guy's getting on my nerves. So what I did was I started paying like super close attention to how he wanted me to make these burritos, and I was like, fine, hey, you want me to make these burritos this way? I'll fucking make them this way. And what I did was I did this with the online orders and with the drive-through orders only, just so I wouldn't get caught, obviously. But I would make the burritos. I'd do it by density. So I'd put all the rice first, then I'd put all the meat, then the beans, and then all the other ingredients, like, separate throughout the length of the burrito. Like, I had this, like I had layers to this burrito, right? And nothing was mixed. It was all perfectly in order. And if, like, you bit into one side of the burrito, you'd legit bite straight into, like, sour cream. Like, this is how fucking terrible this burrito was, right? And I would put these in the online orders, and I'd always do it right before I clock out. So by the time somebody figured it out or, you know, got their food and drove back to complain, it was just hard to pinpoint exactly who was doing it. But for like a bit, the dude was actually like my manager. He was like outside of his office, like walking around, trying to catch who was doing it. And he could never figure it out, dude. I did like 20 of these over the course of my employment, and I only got yelled at as a group for like 3 incidents when he found one. And I could tell it was getting to him. Like, he was, like, on the phone with his lawyer, screaming into the phone. He was just like, these fucking segregated burritos. And, like, the lawyer was like, what, are you okay? Like, He's like, no, did I tell you I worked at such and such? And it was really getting to him. Like Shermaine was like, yeah, dude, like somebody broke into his house the other day, and like the stress is just like, I was like, Shermaine, how the fuck do you know this shit? Like Shermaine always knew everything for some reason. But one day we were there, just making burritos and stuff, and it was the end of the day, and I was about to clock out, and I left one final burrito on the rack, right? I think it was like my last burrito that I ever made, but I left it on the rack, and I expected him to find it, but I guess he didn't, because I clocked out that day, and then the next day I didn't work, so it was left on the rack, and then I guess the next day it got mixed in with the orders of the day, and he found it around lunchtime, and he flipped out, like, according to Shermaine, like this is all according to Shermaine's testimonial, guys, but he flipped out, and he's like, he's here, the person's here, like the burrito bandit or some shit, like, he started, like, interrogating all my coworkers, like, one by one, and, like, he flipped out on, like, this one guy, I think it was, like, Troy, yeah, and then Shermaine tells me the next day, she's like, oh my god, you should have seen it, like, he flipped out on Troy, and like we think it's Troy, like he got a job offer at Home Depot, so we put in his 2 weeks. So like everyone had like their theories, and like apparently he dragged Troy into the office and they fought for a bit, and then Troy like quit on the spot. I was like, holy shit, bro. Like this was like things were like, getting out of hand, bro. I had to get out of there. Like I put in my 2 weeks, and he starts zeroing in on me too. He's like, it's not you, is it? I was like, nah, bro, I've been making all these burritos freaking religiously, just like you taught me. He's like, do it, make a burrito right now, make a burrito, make it. And I can't make the burrito. He's like, damn it. He couldn't prove, like he probably suspected it was me, but he just couldn't prove it. Like he thought it was Shermaine too, but I guess he just couldn't risk firing her because she was just too good at her job. But anyway, at the end, that was like the last burrito I made, and I put it in my 2 weeks, and then eventually I quit. And that was it, bro. Like it kind of just fizzled out, to be honest. I wish I had like a more climactic ending, like I keyed his car or some shit. But I was just done with it, man. And thankfully, I didn't get caught. So every time I drive by there now, I just like part of me wants to like go in and like order a burrito and like go out to the parking lot and like, I don't know, put her on his car or like deconstruct it, like each individual grain of rice one by one until I have a segregated burrito, and then I could just go in and complain, because I don't think he'd recognize me. I don't think I've changed too much, but I could just go in there and be like, yo man, somebody messed with my burrito, and then just have him freak out, and inside just it's like have him crash out, like, oh my god, they're still among us, you know. But that's probably gonna do it for the video, to be honest. I've done a bunch of takes. Let me know if you can tell if I've stitched this together, because I've stitched like at least 5 different clips to make this audio, guys. I'm out of practice with this stuff. But anyways, like, comment, subscribe, share, repost on Facebook without giving credit, report. I don't fucking know. I mean, yeah, this is coming to an end. I still don't know how Shermaine knew so much, though. I really like every time she would say like a new rumor that turned out to be true, she'd always end it with like, but yeah, I don't know. Like no, dude, no, Shermaine, I think you do know, you know, because like I was just thinking like, how the fuck do you know so much? Like, how do you simultaneously know and not know what's going on? You know, you can't just like, she knew way more than she was letting on. I'm sure of it. Like, no, but I'm sorry, I'm just laughing at the stutter there. I'm keeping that in. But I'm telling you guys, like Shermaine, she knew what was up. She was like a double agent or something. Like, I don't know, bro. Freaking detective. Shermaine, if you're watching this video, which by the way, guys, I did go back there one time with my friends. I stayed in the back. I had them order, but I did go back there. And Shermaine, I talked to one of my coworkers who still worked there, and Shermaine no longer works there. She moved on to bigger and better burrito places. So Shermaine, if you're watching this, comment and let me know how the hell you knew so much. Freaking double agent, freaking espionage act of 19 whatever the fuck. What the hell? And also, something else that's kind of funny is that when I drove by there, that manager still has the same car he had 5 years ago. Like, I'm being dead ass. Like, the divorce really must have set him back. Like, that's just sad.